In a person-to-person business communication, one of the main aspects is networking. Networking is actually different from friendship because when we network, we're expecting for something in exchange, and we're expecting the other person to be willing to help us in the future. So that's why we can describe networking as a sort of social currency or as a sort of social investment. In the world, there's two main kinds of networking styles that we can describe. One is the one closer to Japan, Korea, Russia, or the Middle East, and one is the one more close to the US or some parts of Europe. In the first kind of networking style, there are some main pillars. There are family, friends, school, and company. And within those pillars, usually people are more willing to help each other and to also add each other to their networks because there is a strong sense of collaboration, and they know that in those contexts people will be willing to help them as well. Therefore, they don't ask for anything in exchange, or they don't expect for anything in exchange from a particular person. On the other side, in the style similar to the US, there are three main aspects that can be described as the three main meaning anybody, anytime, and anyways. With this, we mean that anybody has the potential to become part of our network. However, not everybody can become part of our network. How then we can describe people that can be part of our network and people that don't really have anything to do with our network? So to do this, usually people do business small talk or they do elevator pitch. Business small talk is usually more on the surface, and it's more about the kind of school that somebody did, or it's more sort of just to get to know the other person. While when we do an elevator pitch, especially in this context, the other person is expecting us to sort of tell a story and to portray who we are as a business person. So it's very important in this case to have a good sense of storytelling and a strong story that can express well what we want to convey to the other person. So there's three main ways to do storytelling. One is a storytelling based on our characteristics, so on sort of one of our qualities. The storytelling based on our achievements, and the storytelling based on what we want to do in the future and what we aspire to be in the future. In this kind of storytelling, the two main aspects that we have to always put in our story are a sort of tension, therefore a sort of obstacle that we have to overcome, and the resolution, meaning how we were able to overcome the obstacle. So therefore, if we have a strong storytelling, it's very easy for us to make ourselves convey as the person that we want to describe ourselves to be like. So, for instance, having a strong storytelling is actually more important than having a strong delivery, meaning a strong non-verbal language and a strong power 7, so stance, voice, smile, face, and so on. But of course, also the delivery is a very important part, because the delivery is able to elevate what we actually want to say, therefore bringing a regular story to a very good story, and bringing some story that it's already very good and very solid, even to be even more engaging and more interesting story for the other person. In lately with COVID in 2020, we had to start having interviews online, and we had to start doing this kind of elevator pitch at home. So there are some tricks that we can use to actually help us to be better at those interviews, and they are more contextual to an online situation. First of all, always watching in the camera, And if we are not really used to watching in the camera and smile or watching the camera and say very long sentences or like trying to pitch to elevator pitch in a camera, we can also put a photography of somebody of some of our friends or some of our family members close to the like behind the camera. Therefore, we can just look at them, and the other person will think that we are looking at the camera. Secondly, it's very important to smile and to use our smile as the sort of extension of our hands and the sort of a thing that can add on top and that can point what we think there are the most important things in what we say.